going to say you're going to do a hangout like everyone else. You're doing a link night hangout.
Yeah, this is a
It's with your special effects.
right, everyone. Link night here.
I could get the little.
I'm going
to
never mind. Beautiful evening. Last of the summer evenings. Beautiful. We're either going to have a glass of wine or a cup of coffee. We'll have a quick think about that. Hear the crickets doing their job. Cricketing in the background.
Hey,
Yeah?
it's like a hangout. Those dark ones.
What?
Vinny does dark hangouts.
Oh, it doesn't? Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Got to plug in a bit of extra power. Not sure if it's in the right hole.
Doesn't do anything.
Can't even see what I'm doing. Excuse me moving the camera around, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's got the power on. Not sure. We'll find out. What's that? A light?
Yeah, I was just trying to put it somewhere. Let's put it out there.
And action.
And now it's starting. It helped that you plugged it in. Look at that.
What's starting?
I can see the brickwork now. It wasn't like that before. When your battery goes low, it makes everything low.
It does. I have a feeling everybody's asleep, which is probably a good thing.
But that'd be so unusual.
A lot of people just don't sleep. They just are there all. I go to bed for 8 hours, have a coffee, make breakfast, and the same people are there that when I went to bed.
Bit cool.
Oh, it's nice tonight, beautiful. Bit cool enough, surely.
What day is it over there?
Well, here it's Saturday, so it'll be
At 6:30
Saturday morning, I think. There. Just turn the camera around so you can see me. Oh, look at that! I could do with a haircut. Evening, viewers. How are you? Sun's just gone down here. Beautiful night. Send me money. My cat's got a cough or it's sneezing or something. I think $5,000 will cover the cost of the cat. Cat ladies? Anyone? Sorry. That was my wife doing that, by the way.
That was funny.
Yes, summer's just about gone, but it's about 24 degrees. I think that's about 75, something like that. Fahrenheit. Beautiful. Crickets are doing their cricket. My wife and daughter's football team playing against each other tonight.
And one's winning. Yay!
Could be interesting tomorrow. Gathering for Easter Sunday. Where the grandkids will be hunting for chocolate. Finding some Easter Sunday chocolate hunting in the past. Easter can be really hot or nice. It's going to be quite nice. About 80, 85 I think tomorrow, not that hot, but in previous Easters there would be a case of the hunt would end up with these dripping bags of melted chocolate. That's what 100 degrees does. I think we're going to have a cuppa or a glass of wine, I'm not sure. Depends what the boss decides. Very peaceful. public holiday here, of course, like everywhere else. I think one of the grandsons was telling me school in Oxford off now, finished Thursday, doesn't go back till Tuesday. 5-day break, which means the teachers aren't here. That's pretty good. I think someone's here. Hello, someone. Hope you're having a good morning or afternoon or evening, wherever you are. Beautiful night here, really beautiful. Yes, g'day keeping. It's definitely morning where you are. But like I say, it's probably about 75 degrees or a bit warmer. No breeze to speak of. But every morning's been a lot colder. Well, for us, cold is like 70 degrees.
It was 71.45.
Wow, you won't get any phone calls from your daughter then. My wife's team is beating my daughter's football team. We're going to turn that down. TV's a bit loud. So how have you been, Keeper? Had a good winter? Did you pile enough fat? Texting to Don One today. He had a hangout. And he went down and got some fish and chips. I think he said it cost him about $13 US. And he couldn't believe that you can buy enough food for, I don't know. Yeah, it's a beautiful, quiet evening. It's beautiful. Yeah, Don One was saying that he spends about $120 a week for one person on food. And I said, well, we spend about 50 for two of us. He just couldn't believe it. Very, very easy to do. As long as you don't do what he did today, and that's buy fish and chips. But where did you move to? Where have you gone to now set up abode? Don't tell me, Alaska, no? Well, you're moving to Australia. You like it here? Our winters are like your summer. Slight breeze. No, you're still in Florida. Yeah, Florida, for me, I've never been there, of course, but it looks very much like a lot of our coastal strips. I mean, we've just got white sandy beaches for 50,000 kilometres. Little towns, bigger towns. But what I've seen of some of the Florida on videos on YouTube, it's very flat, which means it would be subject to flooding, I guess, a lot. Do you have any problems with flooding? I'm not talking about hurricane in general. Oh, we didn't get a wine. We've got a cuppa. Cheers. Thank you. Yeah, we've got a lot of coastal towns that are reasonably flat, and when it rains, it doesn't rain much, but when it does rain, it'll flood. Probably the biggest loss of life in Australia is due to flooding. And only when you get hurricanes, so your general rain doesn't cause any drama. But we had last week, all but one's gone now, we had 3 hurricanes at the one time in Australia. It's not unusual. We had one on my west coast, just off the coast from me, never came in, which is good. That was a Category 5. Category 4 hit in the Gulf of Carpentaria, which is not very populated. And the other one was Queensland. But it's an odd time of the year because the tropics are starting to try and break up their monsoon pattern. The air is still there, so potentially around about February and March is the most dangerous times. Hurricanes. I mean, we get major falls of rain, like you guys do, I'm sure. We have, 2 feet, 3 feet of rain during we call them cyclones, but hurricanes. Not uncommon. Like I say, the biggest cause of death is flooding in Australia. They had whole towns washed away. We got away with a fairly good fire season, I don't recall a death, which is unusual. We had one or two towns completely wiped out. You might know a lady called Blinky on YouTube. She very around her many towns just got wiped out. Bushfires are savage here. The wind, I've been on the edge of them. You'll get a fairly flat, calm, hot day, and then all of a sudden the fire creates its own wind. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. It's like 60 mile, 70 mile an hour, just whoosh, and it like just blasts houses apart. We had a terrible one many years ago where in Kingslake, people were trying to run away in the main street and they just got killed within seconds. Oh, you can do that anywhere, I think, you can have low-lying flooding. But because we don't get a lot of rain, the soil gets fairly compacted. So if we had 3-inch downpour in one day in early February here, flooding. People just couldn't move. It took about a week to drain off. Up north in Darwin, where I've lived for a couple of years, it can seriously all day, every day, and have like 4 or 5 inches, and it just drains away. The flash flooding, like you just said, many people lose their lives because they're actually in a town, it's dry, they're just driving down the road and there's a creek that's dry as well. But about 40 mile up, there's been a massive storm and the rain just rushes down and literally washes towns away. There's not much you can do about it because, like, if you've got a really dry creek bed and it's compacted through the summer, water just flows, doesn't have time to sink in. And that would be the same anywhere. Well, yeah, limestone's pretty porous, so you get good drainage with that. A lot of the coastal areas here have a fairly good mixture of limestone, but clay as well. And of course, when you get layers of clay, water won't penetrate it, or not for a long time. Nice cup of tea. Good much. We will go to the US soon. Make it great again. Sorry, I can know that. Because it's not real great now, what people tell me. No, it's everywhere is the same. People have this sort of strange analogy that, Aussies are better than Americans or Americans are better than Aussies. No, you're not. We're all the same. We're all in the same boat. We all work hard, try to strive, raise our kids. Everyone wants the same thing. It's not as if we're different than anywhere else. And it's the same all around the world. Hatred grows from ignorance, basically. When you hate, be it a religion or a country, and you don't even know them, and you don't know the religion, what the hell are you hating? Generally, it's just your ignorance and fear. You go, I don't know, so I better hate them. Or the media will run with something and you're taught to hate. Every man, woman and child on this planet just wants the best for their family, regardless of religion or sex or anything like that. It's nonsense. It's just the political bullshit that goes with, hatred. Having the ability to look beyond fear and then taking a step to try and understand. Like, I have no intention of learning Islam or anything like that, or Judaism or anything like that. But it doesn't mean I'm ignorant. I just choose not to. It's a case of deciding, live and let live. Not everyone can ever stand up and say, what I do is the only way you should do it and you should follow. But if you don't, we'll go to war. That's ignorance. We've been a fair bit around this planet. And I've got to be brutally honest. The mum and dads that we've met, just normal people, are the same as we are, wherever we've been. Some are on a lot less income in different countries. Some are on a fairly good income. They want the best. They want the same thing for their families. It's when you get this wall built up to say, "G'day, Junker." When you're led to believe that someone's evil, it's because you've been told. And if you just go with the flow and say, "Yeah, well, they're evil," without investigating, without looking, without trying to understand their perspective, it's you that's the bigot. It's you that's ignorant. Because, like I say, can you recall anywhere we've been that people are really same for the mum and for their kids, don't they?
Yeah.
It's not as if you go to a Southeast Asian country or Europe or anywhere that they're, oh, you know, you're a tall white man, we hate you. That's not true. They don't understand us sometimes, but that's like I don't understand them sometimes. But having a preconceived prejudice is what fucks everything up. If you literally believe something before you go there, you won't change your mind, even if you're shown different things and how people live and they're not what you were told they are. If you've got that prejudice, you'll still walk away hating or despising what they do. As you get older, you realise that it's all nonsense. Usually anger and aggression, ignorance or fear, because people haven't bothered to take the time to at least try and learn something of other people's perspectives. And so they just go with what they're told or taught or indoctrinated, and that's it.
Yep, no one can tell me that the Easter Bunny's not real, or the Tooth Fairy.
My wife says the Easter Bunny's real.
Oh, yep, he's coming to visit me
Tooth
tomorrow.
Fairy. What else? Santa Claus?
Well, I got no more teeth to give the Tooth Fairy.
What are you talking about? Oh, geez, you're old, mate. You're nearly 50. Jeez. Feel for you. Me being like 29, I don't know how long that would be. What's that, 21 years for me to get to 50? 50. You're a puppy.
You're 29.
You're in your peak.
The other day you were 102.
Well, yeah. Some days as you get older, you feel old. And some days you don't. Like when you think, oh, I feel good today, and you go for a bit of a move around, and then your shoulder goes, oh, fuck. For no reason. The joints in your body go, no, you can't do that anymore. You go, why not? And the age fairy, forget about the tooth fairy. The age fairy goes, poke, poke, poke. Hello, my name's Mr. Arthritis. How are you?
When you're 50, the gravity goes the other way.
What are you talking about?
Everything.
What?
When you hit 50, gravity goes opposite. It's not all sitting up.
Gravity comes into play then.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember speaking to an old woman and she was very depressed. She would have been about 90. Junker's 40. Puppy with aches. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, she was really old and she was depressed, and so I didn't know, but she pulled out a gun and she shot herself underneath her left breast. They've never been able to replace the kneecap since.
That's an old joke.
I've been listening to some of the shenanigans going on down here, and it's believable things like lies and cheats and things that happen down here. Do I take them really seriously? Not really. I just don't like people who are able-bodied and who could work and are lazy and just ask people to give them money. That's my only beef down here, other than trying to do a few cooking videos, meditation videos. I wouldn't be on YouTube if it wasn't for me. Get some great emails and comments into some of the videos I've done, and I enjoy that. I suppose it's a bit like painting or a hobby. But do I enjoy the interpersonal disputes, fights? Not at all. It just goes on, and it's the same. It's like having the same pile of clothing each year, and it's washed in a different washing machine down at the bottom of YouTube, and it all comes out a little bit different colour, and sometimes the washing machine doesn't clean it properly, or someone loses a piece of clothing. You see where I'm going with this analogy. But every year the same clothing is washed, just differently. One week you're an enemy, one week you're a friend, the next week you're disowned.
No, but socks go missing.
Socks go missing. Analogy. Yeah, I think we have for a long time, keeping cool. We've spoke or text quite a lot over the years. Just giving everybody a fair go.
You've just got one channel, that's it. Your Seeds for Freedom, and that's all there is to it. So, and I'm just who I am.
I laugh when people say, go and attack the person with your troll channels. It has, Junker, ridiculously. I haven't got any troll channels. I'm the worst troll in the world. And generally, if I pretend to troll somebody, then I'll let them know just kidding, because some of it is hysterically funny. Some of the way people do things, but all good things come to an end, and particularly I've seen them over the years and have as well. Those people that are, basically assholes and do the wrong thing and abuse and use people, they end up copping it in the end, either through law, legislation, karma, whatever you want to label it. And we truly do believe that if you do good things come to you. I'm a great believer in that. Call it karma or whatever you like. When people live on and prey on the good generosity of others, it gets my hairs up and back of my neck. I'm angry with that, because we have helped genuine people in real life who need help. And usually this is how you can tell when someone's genuine, is when they don't either overtly or covertly ask for money. They don't ask for money, the genuine people. And that's usually when it's extended. People stand up and say, no, I'll give you a hand. And one of the biggest things you can give anybody, and people will disagree with me, but I will stand by this. The biggest thing you can give anyone is time. Junker has 3 channels. One is content. I'm scared to bring down here. This one. Yeah. I know some people have actually emailed and texted me saying they've basically shut up shot on their channels because they don't want to get struck. And I usually just answer the same way, is that, well, don't do anything that you can get struck by.
Yeah, just read the rules, find out what the new rules are, because it is changing every day on YouTube.
Oh, it is. It is. It's changing.
Every day is a different rule.
And we've got to realise that this is like a big shopping centre owned by Google.
And there are people who have YouTube because they can't travel, they can't get out and see stuff, so they don't watch people's lives.
I agree, 100%.
Because they're travelling, or they're cooking, or they're gardening, or they're homesteading.
Yep, that's a very valid point. I'm no spring chicken, but there are people a lot older than me that go onto YouTube and watch cooking shows like The Wife Says, or travelling shows. And that's a great tool for them to do, to interact.
But the word troll is also very broad. If you go from channel to channel watching all these different things and leaving a comment, you can get called a troll for doing that. You can be having subscribed to 50 channels, watch all their videos, and you get called trolling for that because you're skipping from one to the other instead of sticking to one channel.
Yeah, some people do sides and all that nonsense, which I will never do, nor will the wife. But it's like the frailty of human nature. If here's someone, like say it was Junker, who just made a funny comment, I'm not saying you did, but I'm saying you made a funny comment, but the person behind the camera took it the wrong way, they'll use the word troll. They haven't either comprehended that it was a joke or it was just meant to be a little bit funny, but you get labelled. And then you get the other people that are quite nasty. 2010, Junker, I came onto YouTube. I've only had the one channel. But my point being is that it's the vulnerability of the person who says you're a troll. They have the problem most of the time. Because I can honestly tell all of you that are in this room now, you could abuse the hell out of me. Call me all the things under the sun. Would never bother me. Some of you may not believe that, but it's really true. But if you ask for money, I'm going to boot you. That's the truth. If you are able-bodied and you have the ability to work and you're not a total Fruit Loop, you can get a job. We have a great system in Australia for disability where people can't walk, got no legs, arms missing. The department will find them work, which is fantastic. I'm not going to get into the two different sides of the health system countries, but that's probably one of the main problems with the US, my opinion. You have a shit health system. We all pay 1.5% of our income, and I can walk into a hospital and have anything done at all. Heart operation, it's whatever, and I will walk away paying that much. But that's our country. We pay for it weekly through a Medicare levy. Is it the best system in the world? I don't know, it's pretty good. Not saying it's not. I think Canada's pretty similar. We're both Commonwealths.
And some of the European countries have got even better ones.
Yeah, Switzerland's got a really good one, I believe.
Yeah.
I've got to ask that MB lady, because she's from Belgium, what theirs is like. But a lot of people down here are funny. I don't even reply to some things people say, but I'm laughing. I love some of the comments. You know, humour for me is the best medicine you'll ever get. If you can laugh every day, I think you live a bit longer. It's just, I truly believe that. I think miserable people die younger. Oh, I'm nearly out of coffee. I'll open up the Super Chat and you can... No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But there are some really funny people down here. Great people. There are some acrid people who just live every day to piss people off, but that's okay. It's just how it is. That's how they get their joys. About rolling your own smokes, they tend to go out, which is a good thing sometimes. They come back to a trail of ash. So what are you people doing today? Easter Saturday. It's pretty quiet here. A few parties are held, but not. Easter's a very quiet time, basically, in Australia. Everyone travels. Everyone leaves their home and goes places, which is good to stay home because there's no noise. I think there's about 3 million people in the area, in the bigger, greater Perth area. And I swear to you, a million of them in their cars on Easter and keep going. Have you had a cup of coffee? Cool. Time for a coffee. I always have a cup of tea first thing, myself, followed by coffee. I always have a cup of coffee at night time. That's what we're having now. I'll put you on there. Bunny ears. Here's the wife and her bunny ears. She wears them all day. Doesn't matter where we go, she'll have bunny ears on.
Took the dog out.
Well, the dog's got to do his business.
Well, you've got to dress up when it's that time of the year. Oh, thank you. I know I do. I'm not modest.
I generally get people say, "Is that your daughter?" I go, "Yep."
Oh, I don't think so.
Just to cover myself.
I don't hide the fact I'm... How old am I?
55. Yeah.
I'm 55. And proud of it.
You can see.
Actually, do look like an angel. Got a halo, the light, see?
Well, if you stand up, it'll shine out of your ass.
Oh. See, that more people are coming on now. That's because they come to see me.
I reckon that's what it is. We'll just leave it on you.
10 degrees. That's too cold. I'd be wearing a thermal underwear and jacket in 10 degrees.
Got down to 10 degrees the other day and we woke up and we were shivering.
Actually, is that Celsius or Fahrenheit?
Yeah, Celsius. He might have meant Fahrenheit. I can't see because the camera's on you.
Now they're going to be looking at a blank wall.
No, an eye edge. I'm over here. My wife's over there.
See one ear.
Beautiful night. Beautiful. Just watered the remaining summer veggies. Still getting chilies growing, which is good. Or peppers, as you guys call them. Some tomatoes are still, see there's a few on there, those aromas.
Yeah.
So that's all right, bit of a bonus. Normally at the end of summer, it's quite a rapid change and the cold mornings knock off most of the summer crops. So what do you guys do on Easter Saturday? I gather the shop's still open for you. But
that looks real creepy. You just got one eye looking. It's like,
hello. Can't stretch any further.
It's Tess.
Hello, Tess. A good morning, evening.
Happy Easter.
Yes, happy Easter. Like I say, it's quite a quiet time, Easter in Australia, other than millions of people hitting the road to go to some distant place that they don't normally go. Yeah, down south, particularly in my state, there'd be 500,000 people leave the city and go down there. So small towns that'll become metropolitans.
Can just have one showing.
Hello, everybody.
What's that? 7 a.m. here. It's Saturday. Still
Yeah,
for me.
it's Saturday, 7 o'clock here, just after 7
At
p.m.
night time. Hello, Sugar.
Sugar.
Easter greetings back to you. I'm alone for Easter. Yeah, we'll go outside. Find a stranger. Give them a hug. You either be alone or arrested. One of the two. One of the good things you can do, you know I don't like e-begging at all, but sometimes, my wife, I've done it, is that sometimes you just walk up to a person that you know is doing it hard and just give them $10. It's not a lot of money. Don't do it all the time, but just walk up and give them $10.
Random acts of kindness.
No one's asked for it. You know when someone obviously needs it, and there's nothing wrong with doing it. It's when it's demanded upon you. There's a blizzard out there. Oh, we'll put a hat on. Actually, run naked through the snow and do a video.
Yeah. Yeah, they're purple.
It'll go viral.
You can't sort of see the colours properly, but I always
It might go that viral. You'll get bacterial pneumonia. No, I'm just kidding. Your winter won't let go, will it? I'm going to check your footy score for you. Minnesota, that is bitterly. Lived in northern Minnesota, and he said it's a lot worse than southern Minnesota for the winter. So that's what he told me.
Did you make a choc delicious for Easter? I think winter's finally done for us, unless Minnesota sends us that go. My chocolate stuff. I cheat. I go to the shop and buy the bunnies and then hide them for grandkids.
I don't like Easter egg chocolate anyway.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Certain brand.
Your team's up by about 6 goals.
Yes.
So your daughter's not going to call you. My daughter's team's getting my team.
There's no Aussies in here, so they don't know what you're talking about. It's footy.
Oh yeah, but they'll know sport. Very peaceful with those crickets ticking away, isn't it?
So of a Saturday when you go shopping, yeah, winter. So of a Saturday when you go shopping in the US, like yesterday was Good Friday. On a Saturday, is your shops bedlam, like shopping?
They're crazy here. It's like you go down on a Saturday and the shop will be open Sunday, but they panic.
Yeah, because yesterday actually we had a public holiday, so nothing was open. But today we went down, it was bedlam. But tomorrow the shops, even though it's Easter Sunday, are opened, I think, 11 till 5, I think.
Yeah.
But it was ridiculous here.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, it's like the shops won't be open again, and they just buy trolley loads of food that they end up throwing out. I'm actually going to do a series of videos. I'll speak in Don Juan's hangout earlier this morning for me, and he was telling me how much he spends a week on food. I think he said 120 US dollars for him, for one person. But that includes buying stuff. Like today he bought, what did he buy? Fish and chips for $13.
Seeds pushes our trolley. I can do what I want, but I run into people's trolleys because they'll push the trolley. They're down the aisle. They'll push the trolley across the middle of the aisle and block the whole aisle.
I don't get that, buying all up the milk and the bread. It's like, it's not Armageddon. It's, even 4 feet of snow disappears this time of the year in the US. Yeah, but within a few days, just turns to mush. We've got areas of Australia it snows.
Cricket. I reckon in supermarkets they should have like roads, a white line down the middle. In Australia, like you'd have to keep to the left. Yeah, we drive on the left.
Yeah, the weird thing in supermarkets, and you guys cop this as well, there's always that person, a supermarket aisle's big enough for 2 trolleys, but you'll be going one way and there'll be an old lady who pushes her trolley way off to the right and looks on the left-hand side shelf for about 3 minutes. And then you say, excuse me, can I get past? Like, oh, indignation, how dare you ask?
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah.
That's all right.
I mean, give an idea, 50 US is about 65 Australian.
Yeah, I agree.
They're crazy. They just put their trolley sideways as if to say, well, I'm very important and you'll just have to wait until I've decided which of those people I'm going to buy. I'm not sure. And then the ones that, it's not annoying, but I have to laugh. It's usually the mums around about 25 to 40 who walk and push the trolley with their belly texting. I mean, just shop for half an hour and get it done. Don't walk up and down with their belly pushing the trolley, texting saying, I'm buying some onions. Reply, oh, that's good. What else are you getting?
No, I've got to defend some of them. It's not always the texting. A lot of people here now are going to shop. They actually have the little barcodes or whatever on the phone and they shop like that. Or they got their grocery list on their phone.
Oh, look, I mean, the amount of times I help people, because I am 6'5", and I always get stopped. They say, can you just get that for me? And it's not always the top shelf with a little old lady who's only 4.
Okay. With my ears? I'm 5'4".
5'4", 5'5" with ears. But it'll soon break the winter here. We're expecting a cold winter because we had a mild summer. I was telling Don today we've had one day over 40 degrees Celsius, which is about 105, something like that. And we normally get 10 of those, 12, 15 days over that, but we haven't. So we haven't really had a heat wave as such, have we? Just with some of the cyclones or hurricanes coming down, it's been quite muggy. Oh, but you leave next to it. Catch one of the pickles and 12 smash onto the floor.
Did you knock half the stuff off the shelf?
Yeah, I pulled that up for interest for myself, and I'm pretty sure she's coming down tomorrow or the next day.
I hope it goes in water.
Yeah, it's got a flight path over Australia. The last major satellite to crash on Earth was Skylab. And that hit just south of us.
Did it?
So, yeah, the one guy, I remember in the 80s, some guy got 10 grand for finding the first piece.
That's right, that's right.
But, yeah, and this thing's much bigger.
No, we're heading into summer.
Winter.
Yeah, we are. Sorry, yeah.
Yes, It'll be a chilly 75-degree days for us in the future.
Where we live, we don't get snow, but we do have snow in Australia.
Yep, we've driven through snow, lived in snow, even lived in Tasmania.
And it snowed Christmas Day one year.
Christmas Day, in the middle of summer, Christmas Day, it snowed. We were at a fruit and vegetable shop just laughing. It's snowing. But mind you, the next stop below Tasmania is Antarctica. So it can bring some weather. Tomorrow, do families in the US get together on Sunday? Do the kids or grandkids go for a bit of an Easter egg hunt? I'm ready for spring and summer.
Oh, gee,
that sounds cool.
Wow.
Tess, do you go on like road trips for the day and stop from somewhere and then go home? Is that what you sort of do with your motorbike? A lot of people do that here. Actually, we've got heaps of push bikes these days, thousands of them. A lot of them are electric as well. I should get my Berg's guitar out and do a bit of song. No, I'm just kidding. Mates, families get together for Easter, my primary ride take. Yeah, I mean, a long road trip for a weekend is probably 100 mile. We were used to living in Wales, beautiful mountain country, loads of motorbikes went out on the weekend. I think it's probably our connection,
I think it's our
Sugar.
connection, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not yours, it's us, because he's on the mobile out the front, that's why.
Yeah, my iPhone, for some reason, it glitches
And he's got it on the charger. I don't think that's helping.
Oh well, we'll turn it off soon anyway. Just thought I'd say good day to a few people. Wish them happy Easter. But with your gathering of your families, is there like a big sit-down lunch on Sundays? Is that what happens in the US? Like a sort of Thanksgiving thing, but over Easter Sunday? Just curious.
Actually, we don't even actually have special foods at Easter. Only Good Friday we eat,
fish,
well, depending on your religion or what you were brought up with.
Oh yeah, even without people being religious, they eat loads of fish in Australia.
I mean,
tons
we're
of
not
fish.
religious, we're not Catholic, whatever, but it's just, I was always brought up just to have fish on a Friday.
No, I was very
You're
nice kid. We used to get fish every Friday. Every Friday, not just on Easter Friday. Oh yeah, so they do. So
lots of food.
it's too early, damn it. Good morning, Randy.
Good morning,
You're never awake at this
Randy.
time in the morning. Did you wet the bed?
Don't be mean to him. So what are you doing for Easter, Randy?
He's going on a chocolate hunt, I'll bet.
Are you got to go find eggs tomorrow?
His nana and his dad will have little chocolate eggs all around the yard for him to go and find.
It's payday for that. Oh.
Cool. Party time, Randy. Let's see if I can just move that forward a bit and see if we can sit a bit closer, because all the people are getting is my left ear and your right ear. There we go. A bit more civilised. Hello.
We look like we're at an angle.
Randy will be getting a RV shortly. Hitting the road. Told him all he's got to find is a fat cat, and he's made. But a lot of people in my country have RVs. Cool, that's good news, mate. Good news. Heaps of people in Australia have RVs, but they use them for recreation. They don't live in them. You'll see many, many, many. I should do a video. Drive along the street, you'll see all these, pull behinds and RVs with nothing wrong with living in an RV. When I was a young bloke, I lived in a little cargo van, travelled Australia, had a ball. I would encourage any young man or woman to venture out and enjoy your own country. Some places are not safer than others in the US, they tell me, but I'd have no problem doing the same thing now and never feel threatened. I don't know, there's always going to be somebody around, that's life. But in general, no matter where you go here, you don't feel like you're threatened. I've got people in the US, don't go to that part, don't go there, and definitely don't go there. People are living in those by choice due to... Oh, yeah. No, I mean, everything's relative. To give you an idea, around where we live, you wouldn't rent a house, $450, would be pretty normal.
A week, yeah.
$450 a week to rent a house. Not a mansion, just a house.
If you want to go in, you can put it back if you want.
Yeah, I got no problem with that. You know, some people, look, let's be honest, all of us live in areas of our home. We don't use the whole house. We've got 2 extra spare bedrooms we never use. I have protection, so I feel safe. I'm not going to really ask the question, but I gather it's something defensive that if someone attacked you, you could use. I mean, you know, online's probably different than real life, but in Australia, if I got pulled by the police for maybe a drug test or an alcohol test, the conversation, I'd pull over, I'd wind my window down, I'd say, "How you going, mate?" You say, "Yeah, good. Just got to get you, just doing a random thingy," you'd say, "Just get you to blow in that thing." No, that's not true, Randy. Aussies, when we use weapons, we usually eat something. That's the difference. I don't use the weapon to defend myself. I shot plenty of animals over the years, and I've eaten them. So there's no fear in having weapons. It's what we use them for. But there's the thing in this country. If I had a fight with someone, I would use my fists. Yeah, that's good. Proficient's good. Yeah. I suppose if the need to feel protected means you have to have a weapon, you feel threatened, you got to try and defend yourself. But you don't get that feeling here. Like I was getting back to pulling me over. He'd say, "Blow into that, mate." I go, "All right." And he'd say, "No, you're all right, you can go." There wouldn't be even, rarely, I mean, they do alcohol tests quite often. And I think I've only ever been once asked for my driver's license. Yes, Randy, you could use that in anything in life. Like, I'd rather have money now than not have any, because it would come in handy now. I'd rather have more food now than go hungry. You could use it for anything. A weapon is just an extension. You know, what I mean is that, you know, there's your arm, but if you put a weapon on the end of it, it's just an extension of you. Whether you use it or not is irregardless. But I've had plenty of fights as a young man. Never crossed my mind, or any one of the blokes that I fought, to use a weapon.
It's 140.
He's definitely not going to call you. My wife team's flogging my daughter's team. I suppose it's exciting. You talk about why do you have a weapon? And I've always, I get asked so many times, and I keep replying the same way. They'll say, "What do you think about the American Constitution and having the Second Amendment?" And I say, so I'm just reading Tessa's, because, oh yeah. And I say, it's your Constitution by your people. You have no point in asking me. Problem is that someone will pull a weapon on you. No one's ever pulled a weapon on me. Ever. And a knife or a gun, not even a crossbow, stick. It's always this in Australia. As a young man, that's all we've ever used. And I've got plenty of teeth marks on my fist, trust me. That's the point I'm making. That if you feel you need the protection because of the way that your country is, you'll get it. I don't feel the need for that protection here. That's not saying my country's better than yours. But if the people felt threatened, I assure you, we'd get one.
Back on eating an apple.
Oh, see, just show Randy. That's an apple.
That's an apple.
It's really good for you. Put the soda can down now. But if you want change, you be the change. Seriously, if you ever beef enough with low wages, do something about it. It's, you know, there aren't really any unions left in the US. There are, but you know what I mean. But you don't need to be a union to get a whole millions of people on the street saying, raise the minimum wage to $15, demand it. Because people make change, unless you let the government make change, and then you have no right to complain. If you're not happy with a low wage, do something about it. That's the best thing to fight for. If Americans had more money, they'd spend more money, create more jobs, and the rich people wouldn't get as much, but that's okay.
But you can always do this.
Yeah, you can always smile. Always look on the bright side of life. Join in. But it's true. Life is what you make it. Unless you're told to do things and you do them, plain. If there's no work in your area, move. If people in your area are mean and nasty, move.
Maybe I better not eat this apple out here.
Why?
It could be too loud for these people while I'm crunching.
Isn't that funny though, Randy? People are too frightened to stand up for basic rights, but are not frightened to carry a gun. The priorities are all back to front here. If I was an American and someone said to me, you're getting $7.50 an hour, I'd say, no, I'm not. They say, well, that's what we're going to pay. I said, well, I'm not working for you.
Randy, where are you? Tell Tess.
Randy's in Antarctica. He's a penguin with a laptop.
No, he's not. He's single. We're trying to find him a girlfriend. How old are you, Randy?
Randy is 34, 6'2", 12-pound wet.
Dark hair.
Dark hair. Ladies. They're too scared they will lose their jobs due to no job security at all. The best way for a country to rehabilitate to get a better income for the wage workers is to not work. Guess what industry would do if millions of you said, we're not working for this shit wage? And you all, I mean, not if it's too much money by not working 1 week.
Randy, will you answer Tess? Don't be so rude.
Come on, answer Tess. Tess is 5'2" and... Kentucky. I mean, if this government in Australia said the minimum wage will go down to $7.50, there'd be no parliament. It would be ashes. And I don't say that lightly. No one should stand for crap. And that includes being paid a fair day's income for a fair day's work. I hear so many damn stories from Americans who say they can't afford to live on the money they get paid. That's a great indication that the system's fucked. If someone works 40 hours a week and they live at home and they can't pay the rent, and they can't pay the power bill, they're not getting paid enough. It's not as if they're being extravagant. I mean, for 40 hours of the week, they're not home.
Check the score.
Should be earning.
I'm should be going to get marks down.
She going to drop by? I'll be turning this off shortly. Good catching up with you. But if you really want something in life and you think you're being treated badly, there is a couple of answers. One is not to give it up, and the other is to demand a fair pay for fair work. Yeah, I mean, I do know that each state can have their own legislative income levels, but the federal, I think, set minimum is $7.50. A friend of ours, and a friend of a lady called Arky in Arkansas. Her nickname was Arky, of course. but she was telling us years ago that she was paid $2.50 an hour to work as a waitress, and hopefully someone would tip her. That's ridiculous. I mean, what if you work 5 hours and got no tips? She goes home with, what, $12.50? And then opens a letter from the electricity company saying $50? It's nonsense. And it's okay having a capitalistic system if you truly believe in that, but it shouldn't just all work for the capitalists at the top. I agree. If people's answer is to get into a mobile home, boondock, and even if they got to pay, say, $40 or $50 a week in gas for a journey but not pay any rent, I think it's a great idea. I mean, I would imagine that because of the economy in the US, there are many houses empty because people are not willing to pay that $1,200, $1,500 a month. See, in Australia, tipping's not compulsory. If I took, say, a couple of the kids out for dinner, say there were 6 of us, it'd come to $200 easy for a meal and a couple of drinks. I might leave $20 extra as a tip, but we don't have to. But those people are getting paid minimum of $22.50 an hour. And after the work after 6 p.m, they get paid about $26 an hour. So it's not as if I didn't leave them a tip that wouldn't make money. We don't work on that policy in this country. We can tip, and we do, but it's not compulsory. I had a friend of mine go to the US, and he's just an Australian, so he didn't know. I think he got a burger, a beer, I think some wedges or something, about, I don't know, $13 or $15. And he just said to the waitress, "Thanks for that, it was really good." She just stood there. And he felt a bit awkward and said, "No, it was all good, it's all good." She said, "So you really liked the service?" "Yeah, it was good." Well, he got up and she abused the hell out of him. And he said, "What have I done?" And she didn't say anything. And then some other guy poured with it outside and said, "You're supposed to leave a tip, mate." And it's like, well, I didn't know. He didn't. He wasn't being rude or ignorant. He just didn't know. But the difference here, if my meal, if I go out for a meal, it'll cost $30 for a meal. So you could say the tips are included in that. Because I've got friends in the US that say I'll go out for a meal and it's like $20. So the prices are higher for the product first. But we do tip. Like if there's I've done it, table of 6 and spent about $200 and something for the meal. It's about $20 in. But that's personal choice. I don't have to do that. But like I say, they're getting $25, $26 an hour anyway. So they'll earn a couple $100 for their shift. That's the difference. My friend in Arkansas, yeah, good Tess. Thank you. You have a good remaining Easter. I'm going shortly. But I suppose the difference is expecting tips to make up the difference in your income is all on chance. There's no certainty. I mean, if a guy gets up from a table that Arkie used to serve and just walked out, and he spent $60 on a meal and she got no tips, there's nothing she could do about it. And management's not going to say, "Oh, well, he didn't give you tips, so we'll give you a bit more money." No, they say you're getting your $2.50 an hour. Well, that's what Arkie was telling us. That's how it worked for her. She's worked as a waitress for years. $2.50 an hour she was getting, and hopefully get tips. Well, they should do. But all being fair and equal, wouldn't it be nice to go to work knowing that you make at least $150 for the night, and if you get tips, it's a bonus, instead of going to work and getting $30 and getting no tips? Doesn't work for me. If I can afford to spend $200 at a meal, the person who's serving me should get paid good money. That's my opinion. Relying on the generosity of others to pay tips to make up for my wage, I wouldn't work there.
106 to 90. We won.
She's not going to call you.
I'm not going to call her either. She'll be going to get marked shortly anyway.
Yeah, she'll probably do a burnout in the
100
driveway.
people in there?
What?
Got 100 people in there?
No, I've got a handful. That's all I ever get. But I'm going to close it off. They close this, but if you get no business, they get a guaranteed wage. Yeah, that's good. But it's still not the way that I like to work with somebody. If you work for me, you get paid at least 25 bucks an hour, and if you got a tip, good on you. But I'm happy to pay you the 25 an hour. That's the difference. So if you work a week at $25 an hour for 40, is $1,000. That's about the base rate in this country. People are on between 80 and a couple hundred thousand a year, different jobs of course, but that's pretty normal. I don't see many old cars drive around these days unless it's a vintage. So say you make no tips, your wage would swip to a normal wage. Well, they'd have to, because you wouldn't work for them, would you? Just wouldn't work for them. If you go home and you're only getting $100 for a whole week and your bills come to 200, you might as well buy that RV and not have a house. But I think the movement's pretty big. Randy keeps me in touch. Millions of Americans don't have a house. They don't live on the street as such, but they, utilise whatever they can. And a lot of people work online, so there's income to be made without having to go to work for someone. That's a massive trend in the last 15, 20 years. My neighbour behind, she's just had a baby, but she still works full-time online. Yeah, still, for me, like I say, it's your system. You keep it, but I wouldn't work for it. I just would not work for anyone for 40 hours less than $1,000 bucks. I mean, I was getting 25 bucks an hour in 1985. 2018, I want at least that. But wage growth has occurred in my country, and I don't sit here saying I know everything, but I do know American wages have gone fucking nowhere for 20 years. Well, that's good money. Why aren't you serving, Andy? Get out there and start serving if you're going to earn $1,000 a week. But $1,000 a week's not much. It's 40 hours at 25 bucks an hour. It's not like, oh, really big money. It's not. Yeah, I can just see you in a nice little dress, Randy. A couple of little socks in the upper part of your body. Wig. Hello, sir. How about a tip? You got to get a minimum of 150. I don't know what the cost of someone who does have a house in the US is, but I imagine they'd go through a couple of grand a month. Mum, dad, kids. So there's $500 a week someone's got to earn just to pay the cost of living. So it doesn't take fucking rocket scientists to work out if you're not getting $500 a week and you're the only one working with mum and the 2 kids, you go bust. It's not good. Oh, it's double time here. You're on $50 an hour working weekends here. Like Easter, restaurants are open, big money. Big money for people working in like over the Christmas break as well. But anyway, I bored you enough, I'm sure. Good to catch up with all of you. It's always good to learn stuff off each other. Like I say, no, I've got all the answers. But I do not like e-begging. I do not like people who can work but don't, and choose to live off the generosity of the others by covert and overt means, sneaky. All I could do with a new clutch for the car. I don't want to work, but I'm just going to remind you I could do with a new clutch. It's only $200 for those that can afford it. The links below. I hate that. It's wrong. It's just terribly wrong. Anyway, all of you have a great remainder of the Easter break. We're catching up with our family tomorrow, and it's a good time. And might even do a little video. Kids chase around for 5 weeks. It's always funny. All right, guys. Catch you later.